Hi there. Welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise. Tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today, when you're moving on the mat, I want you to constantly visualize energy building up or rooting up from your feet to your crown, from your crown to your feet. So that not only do you feel strong and grounded on the mat, but also you're constantly stimulating the chakras or the energy systems in the body from your root chakra to your crown, from your crown to your root. In terms of physicality, we are going to be including a beautiful hip and pelvic openers, as well as a fair amount of work into the core and working ancillary into the arms. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify your movements if you need to, using props where you feel is appropriate, and feel comfortable to ease your way into child pose should you need a rest at any time. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class standing towards the top end of the mat. I'd like you to heel toe your feet in and find a narrow mountain or Tadasana. Big toes together, ankles lightly touching, just arms long and heavy at your side. Tuck your tailbone under, pull your belly button in, and just take a moment to find that strong root or ground. Visualize yourself as a taproot, maybe a carrot standing up nice and tall, and try to lengthen from the tips of your toes to the crown of your head. Start finding that energy flow through the body. Toe to head, head to toe, moving up and down in a constant stream. Then gently float your arms out in front, bend at the elbows and stack your forearms one on top of the other, pushing down with the top arm and resisting with the bottom. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, give me a small twist to one side. Inhale, come back. Exhale, take it to the other side. You're going to give me one more to each side. Then as you come back towards the center line, give me a baby tree on one side, bending the knee, placing the sole of the foot on the inseam of the bottom leg. Keep your tree low, below your knee line. So maybe resting on the calf or maybe lower to the floor with the big toe connected to the mat to help with your balance. And just look for length. Look for that flow of energy. Bottom to top, top to bottom. Come back to your narrow mountain position. Take a big breath in and give me that soft side to side twist. Exhaling as you come off the center line and inhaling as you come back. Just keep your first couple of twists really soft. Don't overdo it. Come back to the center line, find your root, and find your baby tree Virtsasana on side 2. Keep looking for that flow of energy, waking up the chakras gently. Ease your way back to a standing frame, and this time open up your feet into more of a samasthiti with your feet about hip width distance apart. Tuck the hands behind your head in a surrender-like fashion. Take a bigger twist to each side, exhaling as you twist and inhaling as you come back. And then bump the weight back into your bum and your heels into a baby chair. You're going to do that 3 times. Hold your chair position, bumping the weight as far back into the bum and the heels as you can and stacking the arms one on top of the other as you take a chair-like pose. Try to drop as low as you can, and then heel toe your feet out, coming into a midway squat or a deep squat, using your elbows to push on the inside of the knees and hold your squat line. Looking for that root through the feet, looking for that energy from your root to your crown. Inhale overhead, exhale, come back down. Let's do that twice more. Inhale, reach long and lengthened. Visualize that energy traveling up on the inseam of your legs and exiting through the crown of your head. Ease your way from here into a strong plank line, keeping the core beautifully braced. And then I'd like you to draw your right knee and tap it to your right elbow 3 times. Ease your way into a down dog frame, and then morph your down dog frame and circle out your right knee, keeping the knee bent and circling it up to the outside, externally rotating through the hip. And then use your next circular trace to take a wide step to the outside of the right hand, dropping the back knee and foot, and just gently open your right foot out to about 45. Lean forward over your wrists as if you were trying to hook your chin over the top of your mat as you find a lizard line. And then lean the weight back, thinking hip over knee, and extend your front leg, toes disconnecting from the mat, looking up nice and high and trying to ground through both hands. Come back into your lizard. See if you can lean forward a bit more. Maybe knife edging the front foot this time as you keep it softly splayed out at 45. Keep drawing up the energy, root to crown, crown to root. Sit back in your little hamstring stretch. Maybe trying to drop a little bit closer, bum to heel this time. Trying to keep those hands connected to the mat, maybe flat on the palm or maybe on little spider fingertips if you prefer. Come back to your lizard line. Maybe dropping this time onto the forearms if you can. Every time, just trying to work a little bit deeper into the hips and the groin. Think of softly dragging back, maybe sitting back on the back heel or maybe just shy of the back heel this time. Ease your way from here into a plank line and come straight into a fallen triangle by taking your right leg, feeding it across the midline of the body, knife edging the foot and holding your plank line strong. Then drop a little bit of the weight into your right hip bone and hold. Keep visualizing that energy, top to bottom, bottom to top. Use your fallen triangle to set up a high pigeon line. The leg that's fed across the midline of the body, bend that knee, line it up in line with your hip or slightly wider. Knee and ankle either in a straight line or the heel tucked in closer towards your perineum. Relax the front leg, relax the back leg and shin. Slide, creep or walk the back leg away and situate yourself up nice and high on the mat. If you feel uncomfortable here and it feels like you're sinking on the right side, take a block, use the knife edge portion of the block and tuck it underneath your bum crease on the right. Tuck into your pigeon and hold. If you feel steady here and your inner thigh draw and your abdominal connection is nice and tight today, you can float the hands behind you. Interlace them, but don't draw the two palms together. Almost think of squaring into your wrist line and pretend that somebody's grabbed the hands from behind you and is pulling them towards the wall at the opposite end of the room. Sit up as tall as you can and draw the energy up from the inner thighs all the way from your pelvic floor, through your chest line, through the neckline, towards the crown of your head. Hold that line for me. Softly uncouple the arms, and if you do have a block underneath your right bum cheek, feed it out. You're going to sit the weight into your right bum, and you're going to square up your front leg so that the knee and the ankle are in a straight line, and draw the back leg in so that the knee and the ankle are in a straight line. Place your fingertips on the mat and focus on your back leg. Keep the foot connected to the mat as you gently butterfly flap the knee up and down. Keep nice and tall through the spine as you open up through the hips. Almost a little soft fluttering or pumping action. Hold high. 10 soft counts. Foot connected to the mat and the knee off the floor. We're going to use this line to set up a double pigeon, and we'll try to hold the double pigeon for at least 10 seconds. Try to keep the front leg in alignment. Think knee over ankle, and then try to overlay the back leg on the top leg. Swing it around. So you've got knee over ankle, foot over knee, knee over foot. Gently lean forward, maybe gently placing your hands on the mat. Try not to tuck your feet into easy sit. Try to keep quite a strong triangular shape between the two legs. Just gently leaning the weight forward. If you'd like to, you can take your left hand and gently push down on the knee, coaxing it down. For some of us, it might feel like the knee is wrapped around your ear. Try to gently, maybe opening it up, trying to get it to relax to the foot beneath it. Agnisthambasana, double pigeon. Hold your frame wherever you are. We're going to use this double pigeon line to set up a high kneeling frame in Siddhasana. I'd like you to think of using the fingertips that are placed on the floor behind you to creep your way forward onto the knees and almost tuck your top foot between the calf and the thigh of the bottom leg as you kneel up as tall as you can, maybe just placing your hands on the hips or reaching your hands out long and lengthened in front of you as you draw energy up. Think of the energy from your big toe along the inseam of the legs, then tilt or curl your pelvis up towards your belly button line as the energy travels from your pelvic floor all the way through your belly, your chest, your throat center, your third eye, and the crown. Then drop your hands to the mat, uncurl the legs behind you, and sit your bum back between the feet. So allow the feet to curl around your bottom as you find your way into tadpole. Wiggle your way down, trying to make the bum bones nice and heavy to the floor. And then reach for your shin bones and pull your shin bones gently up towards the ceiling while grounding down. Close your eyes for a couple of moments and really connect to that prana, that energy. Feel it rise up, root to crown, and then bleed back down, crown to root. Maybe visualize it traveling in a cyclical pattern, traveling clockwise through your body, like a never-ending daisy chain of energy. Softly flutter open your eyes. Place the hands gently on the mat and then lean the weight back onto the bridges of your feet if you can, and lift your knees up for a second so that you're really stretching the front of your feet. Pause here, gently leaning back with an L-shaped lean on the spine. Then drop your knees closer towards the midline of the body and reverse your foot position, coming into hero, opening up the feet a little bit wider and trying to sit your bottom between the 2 feet. Your knees don't need to touch. If you find that having the knees too narrow, too close along the midline of the body is uncomfortable, open them a little bit wider, or maybe take a block, feed it through, and sit back on the block. Do what feels comfortable for you. Find the hero setup that works for you, and then if you can, ease your way back onto the hands, arms stacking underneath your armpits, or find your way onto the elbows and pause here. Close your eyes, take your focus in, start visualizing that energy traveling up from the big toe, along the arches of your foot, through the ankle joint, tingling along the legs, all the way through your hips, your belly, your chest, your throat, your third eye, your crown. Then retrace that path from your crown all the way down to your toes. Ease your way back up into a high seat. and find your way into a plank line. Place your hands on the mat and step your legs back one at a time. Trying to stay on the bridges of your feet if you can as you find a strong plank. So almost hollowing out your belly at first as you push off the bridges of your feet and your palms. Then start changing the shape of your spine, almost dropping through your plank line and giving me a strong up dog. Energy traveling from the inseam of your legs through the lower belly area and into your chest center as you drop the shoulders away from your ears. Now tuck the toes under and find a traditional plank. Knife edge your feet to the right as you open up into a side plank or stack one leg on top of the other and hold here or come into sage by extending the top leg up, reaching with your big finger, with your middle index finger and thumb and giving me a big toe lock. Or if you're feeling funky today, you can come into a half lotus tree line by tucking that heel in towards the opposite hip bone and finding a modified tree-like sage. Play with the side plank that works for you and hold strong. Visualize that current of energy. Bottom to top, top to bottom. Ease your way from here back into your plank line. Drop down into child pose, allowing the big toes to float together, the knees to softly splay out, and float the arms behind you, interlacing them, thinking of that space between the two shoulder blades. So don't try to fist your hands. Just squeeze the two shoulder blades together. And keeping the weight on your crown, give me a little drop through the left shoulder. Drawing the hands as far to the left side of the room as you can. Inhale to come back to center. And exhale to drop down through the right shoulder, allowing the hands to draw as far towards the right side of the room as you can. Let's do that one more time to each side with your breath. Inhale to prepare, and then on the exhale, drop as you lean the arms as far as you can to one side. Inhale to come back. Exhale to take it to the other side. Uninterlace the arms, drop them long and heavy at your side, palms up to the ceiling, and just take a deep recovery breath or two. Then ease your way from here into a 4-point kneeling frame. Inhale to prepare as you drop down into a cow. Exhale to round out in cat. Just moving maybe 3 or 4 times through the cat-cow dynamically, playing with the shape of your back. And then coming to stillness in a neutral tabletop line and giving me a circular trace through the body, bumping the weight to the side, over through the front of your wrist line, to the side and back into the hips. Come back to a neutral table and give me 3 cat-cows. Come back to your neutral line and trace your circular pattern in the opposite direction this time. Just playing with that weight placement into the hips, into the ribs as you circle out. Come to stillness and table. Tuck your toes under and push the weight back as if you were morphing a child pose with a toe breaker. The knees are softly splayed out. So as you look between the 2 feet, there's almost a V shape between the legs. Visualize that current of energy. Toe to crown, crown to toe. Hold the stretch. We're going to ease our way from here into a deep squat line, Malasana. Stepping out one leg at a time, bringing the hands to active prayer, using the elbows to push and open up through the groin area and find that current of energy. Maybe closing the eyes and just taking your focus in for a couple of deep breath cycles. Then staying here, or maybe coming to a little bind by taking your right arm and dropping the right palm to the inside of the right foot. Use the arm to push against the inseam of the right leg as you gently twist and open up to the left, or tuck the arm around you, front view, and see if you can't bind the hands on the outside of your right leg, bringing the hands into a little bear grip behind your back. Hold your stretch wherever you decide to play. Keep opening up through that top shoulder. Then unbind the arms softly. Heel toe your feet in as you come to a soft forward fold of your choice. Maybe hands connected to the mat, or maybe resting with the hands on the top of your thighs or the top of your shins. Heel toe the feet in all the way, big toes and ankles touching. Visualize that flow of energy, toe to crown, crown to toe. Softly peel up, ragdoll style, and find your original narrow mountain, finding that current of energy and feeling beautifully grounded but buzzing with energy. Stack your arms one on top of the other, pushing down with the top arm and resisting with the bottom. Big breath to prepare. Exhale to twist side to side. Doing that with your breath. One more to each side. Float back towards the center line. And find a tree line on the right. Baby tree, whole foot below your knee line, maybe on the calf, or maybe big toes still connected to the floor. Step back to your narrow mountain and do that soft little rotate side to side. Keep pushing with the top arm, resisting with the bottom, and constantly feeling that hum of energy, bottom to top, top to bottom. Find your way back to center and find your baby tree on side two. Looking for that current of energy to almost float you up nice and tall to the ceiling. Then tuck the hands behind your head as you step the feet hip width distance apart, and play once more with that soft rotation, one to each side, keeping the elbows wide and then bumping the weight back into your bum and your heels. We're going to do that 3 times. Just finding a steady rhythm of your own, twisting side to side and then bumping the weight back into your bum and your heels. Then morph into a chair-like pose, stacking the forearms, trying to drop a little bit lower, seeing if you can bring the thighs a little bit more parallel to the floor. Drop down into a deep squat, using cactus-like arms, pushing with the elbows to open up the groin. Then inhale to reach overhead. The feet are still softly splayed out at 45 as you begin moving dynamically between your modified deep squat and a little overhead reach. Hastasana. Let's do one more. From here, you're going to find your way into a plank line, and we're going to play on the left side of the body. Plant your hands on the mat and step back your feet one at a time. Think left knee to elbow, tapping out 3 times. Then easing your way into a down dog frame, maybe pausing here for a little stretch. Into the front and the back chain of the body, hands more or less shoulder width apart, feet hip width distance apart. Then bend the left knee and start externally rotating through the hip. Use that rotation to step wide to the outside of the left hand, setting up your lizard line, relaxing the back knee and foot, allowing the front foot to softly splay out at 45. At first, maybe keeping the whole foot grounded and just leaning the weight forward over your wrists as if you wanted to hook your chin over the edge of your mat. Then change up the stretch, working into the hamstring of the lead leg by peeling your weight back. Think hip over knee on the back leg. Extend the front leg, point the toes up to the ceiling. Try to push off your palms and just enjoy the stretch. Connect to that hum of energy flowing through the meridians within your body. Ease your way back into your lizard line. Maybe trying to lean forward a little bit more, maybe knife edging that front foot. Breathing through any uncomfortableness that you might feel in the groin area. And then trying to sit back in your hamstring stretch. Trying maybe to bring your bum a little bit closer to the heel of the back leg. Constantly connecting to that flow of energy. Come back into your lizard line, maybe dropping onto the forearms this time. Playing with that front foot, either keeping it grounded or knife edging, or playing between the two and almost fluttering the front knee. Just see where you need your stretch and your work today. Maybe drawing back, trying to sit back on the heel of the back leg as you come into your modified monkey guard stretch, or maybe staying high off the back foot if you prefer. Give me a couple more breaths here, and then we'll set up a fallen triangle. Think of stepping back forward into your lizard-like line. Tuck the back toe under, bring the knee up off the floor. Then focus on your front leg. Feed it through, crossing over the midline of the body, and brace off the knife edge portion of that leg. Then bump the weight softly into the hip on the left and hold a strong plank line. Tap into that flow of energy, bottom to top, top to bottom. Use this fallen triangle to set up your pigeon. Start drawing the knee across the midline of the body. Find the angle on the lead leg that works for you. Relax the back knee and shin. Slide, walk, or creep the leg away and set up a high pigeon line. Start drawing up along the inseam of the legs. Use a block if you need to brace underneath your bottom on the left. Float the hands behind you, interlacing them but not bringing the palms together, almost pushing into your wrists, and pretend somebody's pulling the hands away from you, trying to float them to the wall behind you. Keep tapping into that flow of energy. Uninterlace the hands and place them on the floor, squaring up your front leg, knee and ankle in a straight line, and then start drawing up the back leg so that you can line up the knee and the ankle of the back leg. Keeping your fingertips on the floor and the back foot connected to the floor, you're going to flap that knee up and down like a little butterfly. Maybe 10 little flutters up and down. And then you're going to end with a knee high as you can, off the floor, pushing off the foot of the back leg. Opening up beautifully into the groin and using this to set up your double pigeon line. Check that you've got front knee over ankle, or as close to that line as you can manage, and then overlay the back leg on top of the right, thinking ankle over knee, knee over ankle. Softly lean forward as you come into the double pigeon line. Keep breathing, keep tapping into that energy. If you like to, you can take your right palm and gently coax the right knee further down, trying to get it to relax to the foot beneath it. We're going to take a few more breaths here, and then we'll set up that modified Siddhasana-like kneeling pose. You're going to think of draping your fingertips to the floor and almost dragging or pulling your energy forward, coming to rest on the kneecaps and almost tucking the top foot onto the calf with the bottom foot, either hands resting on your hips or maybe floating the arms out in front of you. Just reach long and lengthened and tap into that energy flow. Give me at least 5 more breaths here, and then we'll modify our leg line and find our way into tadpole. Think of grounding your fingertips into the mat, untuck the legs behind you, but still keep the toes as close towards the midline as you can, maybe big toes just touching. And then start wiggling, splaying your knees out further, and try to sit your bum between the 2 feet, almost wrapping the soles of your feet around your bum, and then reach for your shin bones and pull the shin bones gently up towards the ceiling while grounding your bum. Close your eyes, take your focus in, and visualize that energy. Root to crown, crown to root. See it traveling in a never-ending clockwise daisy chain. Give me a few more breaths here. And then we'll work the front of the feet. Think of leaning the weight back into your hands, drawing the knees off the floor, pushing off the tops of your feet, getting an awesome stretch into the tops of the bridges of your feet, hovering those knees off the floor for a few seconds. And then using this to set up your hero line. As the knees come back down to the mat, reverse your leg line. Think knees closer together along the midline of the body as you splay the knees softly up. Settle into your hero, using the block underneath your bottom if you need to, and find a high hero line, either hands behind you on the mat, maybe fingers looking away or towards you, and see if you can ease your way onto the elbows, just softly pushing off your forearms, keeping your chin line soft and relaxed, and feel that energy draw up from the big toe along the inseam of the legs, feeding through the pelvis, the belly, the chest, the throat, the third eye, and the crown, and then bleeding back down, crown to toes. Walk your way back up. Find your way into a plank, but drop onto the bridges of your feet as you find your first plank. Almost hollowing out through the belly as you find that energy flow. And then start softening your belly line, morphing into an up dog, but not collapsing onto the tops of your thighs, still only the tops of the feet and the palms connected to the mat. Then tuck your toes under, find a traditional plank. We're going to take a side plank to the left. Maybe knife edging the feet, stacking one on top of the other, keeping the hips up nice and high, or stacking one leg on top of the other, or coming straight into sage by taking your middle index finger and thumb, finding a big toe lock and holding. Or maybe you prefer to come into a tree-like half lotus and open up the top arm to the ceiling. Play where you're comfortable. Hold for a couple of breath cycles, trying to look for that, not only tap into the energy, but that strength through the core, that power through the body. Almost as if somebody had flipped a switch. Ease your way back into a plank line. and find your way into child pose. Dropping down into the knees and the shins, allowing the big toes to float together, knees to the side of the room. Interlacing the hands behind you, not fisting them, but looking for that almost square up through the shoulders. Take a big breath in and maybe drop your right shoulder, floating the arms as far to the right of the room as you can while keeping the weight on your forehead. Inhale to come back to center, and then exhale to take it to the other side. Give me a nice long, almost sighing release on the exhale. Let's do one more drop to each side. Uninterlace the hands, drop them long and heavy at your side, palms looking up, and just take a couple of deep recovery breaths before you find your way into a 4-point kneeling frame and set up a little cat-cow release. Find a strong tabletop line. Inhale to prepare, giving me a hollowed out back, taking your chin and bum bones to the ceiling. Exhale to round out. Play with that little cat-cow 2 more times, finding a little internal rhythm of your own, marching to your own drum. Then come back to table and give me a clockwise trace, tracing a big circular pattern, playing with that weight into the hips and the bum. Come back to center and 3 more little cat-cows, feeding into that internal rhythm of your own. Come back to table and trace an anti-clockwise circle this time. We're going to come into that toe breaker child from here. Find your way into table, tuck your toes under, bump the weight back, just shy of your heels and take a little stretch here. Almost as if you wanted to come into child, but not quite getting there, and getting an awesome stretch into the arches of your feet. Feel your whole legs tingly with energy. Use this to set up a deep squat line, stepping out the legs one at a time. Take your feet as wide or as narrow as you need to come into the deep squat, placing your hands in prayer and using the elbows to actively open up through the groin. Tap to that energy, flowing bottom to top, top to bottom. And then let's take an off-center stretch, placing the left palm on the inside of the left foot, pushing with the inside of the hand, floating the right arm open, or tucking the hand behind your back and maybe seeing if you can wrap around the left leg, coming to a little bind with the hands, almost in a bear grip, pulling and resisting with the hands. Ease your way back into your deep squat line and use your deep squat line to ease your way into Sukhasana, easy sit, leading with the right leg in front of the left. Just tucking that heel in as close to the perineum as you can. Give me a soft little forward fold, trying to connect the forearms if you can, or maybe just keeping your fingertips softly connected to your floor and leaning the weight forward. Softly peel up. Place your right palm on the inside of the right knee as you twist softly to the left, opening up as you push the knee away. Same hand to knee. And then gently take the twist in the opposite direction, opposite hand to knee. So left hand pushing the right knee open and using the other hand to just gently support your frame on the mat behind you. Peel back to the center line and see if you can tuck into half lotus by taking the front foot, lifting it off the floor and tucking the heel as close to the inside of the left hip bone as you can. Give me a soft little forward fold. Maybe just fingertips or palms, or maybe forearms if you're able. Just take a couple of soft breaths here, pushing off your forearms and sinking your bum bones back so that you can really activate that stretch into the right leg. Peel back up along center, right hand to right knee as you gently come into a twist, looking off that back shoulder. Inhale to come back to center, exhale opposite hand to knee. Ease your way back to the center and think of that kneeling Siddhasana that we played with earlier on. Creep your hands forward. Start bringing the weight forward onto your knees. And then from the half lotus line, almost wiggle your foot down a little bit and try to tuck it between the calf and the thigh, the top leg. Come into a high kneeling frame, maybe hands on hips, or reaching long and lengthened with the fingertips in front of you. Look for that energy, root to crown, crown to root. Then use your kneeling Siddhasana to sit back into easy sit, this time leading with the left leg in front of the right and fold forward directly, holding your little stretch. Trying to ease as close to the forearms as you can comfortably manage. Gently peel up along the center way. Left hand to left knee as you softly twist to the right, using the other fingertips to just gently brace on the mat behind you, looking for length in the whole body. Inhale, exhale to twist in the opposite direction, opposite hand to knee, so the right hand gently pushing on the inside of the right knee. Ease your way back to the center line and try to tuck into the half lotus line by lifting the left foot off the mat, tucking the left heel in as close to the inside of the right hip bone as you can, and then softly folding forward, maybe fingertips, maybe palms, maybe forearms. If you've made it onto the forearms, maybe push off the forearms and sink your hip line back. Take a couple of gentle breath cycles here. Peel back up. Same hand to knee, so left hand to the inside of the left knee as you gently twist to the right. Try to just get that knee to open up, feeling the stretch on the inside of the left hip bone. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist in the opposite direction. Opposite hand to leg, so right palm to the inside of the left knee. Then use this half lotus line to set up your kneeling Siddhasana. Place your fingertips on the mat and think of almost clawing through your fingertips, almost pulling the mat closer to you as you try to transfer the weight onto your knees and slide that top leg from the half lotus line, tucking it between the calf and the thigh of your lead leg as you find a kneeling Siddhasana. Draw up the energy along the inseam of the legs and all the way to your crown. Maybe hands floating out in front of you, or maybe just gently brace on your hips, whichever works for you. Try to find your balance. Then softly sit back, untuck the legs, splay them out long and lengthened in front of you, and come into the Paschimottanasana, a forward fold of your choice. Preferably interlace your hands, invert them, and hook them over your feet as you think nose to knee. If this is not working, maybe using a belt or a strap around the feet, maybe using a block, tucking it around the feet and pulling in if you can, or using the block between the two thighs and finding a comfortable lean-in position that works for you. Just give me a couple of relaxed breaths here, closing the eyes, tapping in to that energy that's flowing within the body. Try to keep your breath work long and lengthened, not short and choppy. Then peel gently up along the center line and give me one fall back to come to lying on the back. Just maybe gently floating almost into a Shavasana-like position, but I'd like your heels together and your big toes turned out. So your legs are almost in a Pilates V, your spine is in neutral, and the arms are long and heavy at your side, palms up, and your chin soft. Focus on your right leg. Bend the right knee out to the side of the room and then draw it in, tracing a little circular pattern through the right hip joint. Keep softly, just lightly caressing the floor with your right foot at all times. So don't totally lift the foot off the mat. Then on your next trace, think of hugging the right knee in towards your chest, floating the left leg off the mat. Then draw the leg up to the ceiling and push back down, floating it and playing with your foot line, soft as the leg comes up, and then brace into the heel as you come down. Maybe doing that 10 times while hugging the right knee in towards your chest. Just find a soft rhythm of your own. Then draw both knees in towards your chest, hug them in, almost allowing your tailbone to just lift off the floor for a second or two. Before opening up your arms into a soft T-frame, take a big breath in, and on an exhale, drop both knees as far as you can to the left while you look to the right, coming into a soft supine twist. Maybe bearing down with your hands on the top knee if you can. Try to keep both shoulder blades connected to the mat. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, drop the knees as far as you can to the right while you look to the left. Keep anchoring through both shoulder blades. Ease your way back to center. Find your long extended line on the mat. Heels together, toes looking to the corner of your mat. And begin externally rotating through the left side, bending the leg, taking the knee out to the side of the room and then drawing it back in. And keep softly caressing the floor with a portion of your left foot at all times. Then the next time you circle out, think of hugging the left knee in towards your chest, float the right leg off the mat, and then start playing with that draw up and down of your long extended leg. Soft toe line as you come up, and then a brace into the heel as you come down. Start tapping into that energy. Toe to top, top to toe. Then maybe drawing both knees in towards your chest on a nice exhale. Open up the arms into a soft T-frame. Drop both knees to the right as you look to the left. Maybe softly bearing down on the top knee with your fingertips to increase that twist into the lower lumbar area. Inhale to come back and exhale to softly take it in the opposite direction. Come back to the center line, cradle rocking your lower back out if you need it, before finding your way into a full Shavasana corpse pose to end off our practice for today. Extend the legs long and lengthened. As they fully extend, allow the big toes to rotate out. Inner thighs rotated to the ceiling. Arms long and lengthened at your side, palms up. Lift the shoulder blades off the mat, tuck them behind you, and then settle the weight of your whole body into the mat. Wriggle around until you're comfortably situated. Close your eyes and take your focusing. Start tapping into that play of energy, activating from your big toe all the way along the inseam of your foot, drawing up along the inseam of your legs, moving through the pelvis, moving through the belly center, your chest center, bleeding through your throat center, up through the neckline, through your third eye, that little space between the eyebrows, and up to the crown of your head. Then allow that energy to bleed back down from your crown, through the third eye, through the throat, through the chest, through the belly, through the pelvis, bleeding along the inseam of your legs and making back its way to the toes. Feel totally tingly, alive, grounded, and full of energy. End of your practice for today by floating your hands to prayer and maybe tapping your index fingers to your nose as you whisper Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today. Stay on your back for as long as you need to. And when you are ready to come out, softly roll onto one side. Just stay there for a couple of breath cycles before you push up into a seated and then a standing frame. I do hope that you enjoyed today's class. Give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy, and share with me your comments and your feedback. Make sure that you're always subscribed with your notifications on, and I shall see you all for playtime on the mat tomorrow. Till then, keep it light.